All right, guys, Kurt again from Time Machine Transport. This will be part two of probably, like I said, 3 or 4 videos. Anyways, we got the air, the intake off, and then we took off this bracket up here. This is obviously where the air filter housing was sitting, and then this bracket went over to the radiator and then fastened down here. So we got a couple things I want to show you before, so just to help you guys out. Like I said, I'm not a mechanic. I mean, if you could do it yourself, do it yourself, right? All right, so there are 4 bolts holding the turbo to the manifold. There's 1, 2, 3 down there where my socket is, and then there's a 4th on the bottom over here. You see my extension right here. And it's a 15 millimeter on mine. I don't know what yours would be, obviously, but I was really surprised. What I did is I took some regular spray, some lubricant, and I sprayed the 4 bolts just to kind of give it a little bit of lubricant, because I'm sure they're rusted as shit. But anyways, I was able to use a regular 15 inch ratchet open end, and they actually loosened up pretty easy. I was very surprised. So I got one, and then the bottom one's done on that side. This top is done, and that's my 4th down there, which is the easiest. So that's 4 bolts you got to get, and then you got to loosen up this where the, I don't know, where it'd be wouldn't be the intake, it'd be the out into your exhaust. You got to loosen up this clamp, and then there's another for your oil. This one right here. And what you got to do is you got to put a wrench, an open end, on the fitting itself to hold it, and then just twist this off. I think this is a 3/4, I believe, and this was like a 9/16 or something, 5/8. I think it was a 5/8. And then you got, oh shoot. And then you have a, get my camera to focus. You have this right here. I don't know if you guys can see, if I can see, I know the lights, but this right here, that is 2 more bolts. I think those are 9/16. Those came off pretty easy. So you got 2 bolts here going to the bottom of the turbo, which goes down there somewhere. And then you got this right here. I don't know if this is the in and that's the out. I would imagine this is probably the in. And then so you got 2 bolts here. You got this right here with a 3/4. Hold it with a 5/8. And then on the back side, you got 4 bolts that go to the intake or manifold, whatever. And then you got this ring here. And then once those are loosened up, well, the game plan is that it's going to come off. Oh, and another thing about the, so that's pretty much it. So you got, once again, you got 2, 1, 4 on the back side, 2 up top, 2 on the bottom, this ring. So far it's, well, I'm not going to jinx myself, so I won't say anything. And then on the turbo here, this old line here, thought I was going to have to reuse it, but no, it came with a brand new one. All the rings, all the clamps or rings, whatever you call them, those all came with the unit. And then what else? I don't know exactly where the doser valve goes, but I'm going to have to look at that once I pull the old unit off. I don't know if it looks like it obviously threads in somewhere. Maybe, I don't think it could possibly thread in here, but I didn't see one. I don't know. Like I said, this is my first time ever doing this. Just trying to help you guys out. So the next step, this is part 2, like I said. The next step is, try to make as much working room as you can. because this unit's not light. I mean, it's probably 50 pounds, maybe. I don't know, something like that. But another thing that I noticed was the TA said they saw oil in the fan, in the turbo wings or flaps, whatever they call them. I didn't see any oil in there. So, but I know on this truck I lost a lot of power, and that's because the fan is still staying on from the previous videos I did. So I parked it for a few months, and now obviously, well, the turbo was gone. So I was losing quite a bit of power, and I know it's when your fan stays on constantly, you are losing horsepower. I don't know how much horsepower, but I assume it's quite a bit. And the turbo, like I said, they said it was bad or whatever, and like I said, I was losing a lot of oil out of this side. I mean, just the whole side was just all the way down. I mean, from as far down as you could see, it was this oil sprayed until I put that towel between this and the hood. So it would kind of make sense that it was coming, especially up high like this, because nothing was spraying on the bottom of the truck. So I guess it would make sense, but I don't see any. But like I said, I'm not a mechanic. I don't really know what to look for. So, but anyways, oh, and another thing, I got to replace this part of this coolant line coming from the water pump. These were brand new lines, and the last mechanic that put it on, this line that goes to here for your heating and your cooling, with the shutoff, this actually the vibration of the truck literally rubbed a hole through this steel pipe. So now I got to replace it. That's what all these clamps were on there for. I had to kind of doctor up something just to get me out of where I was and get me home, because I was leaking coolant like crazy. So I was just filling it with water, and so I got to replace this. I'll do that, and then like I said, I got to do a PM. So I'll let you know how this stuff goes up here. But once again, like I said, it seems pretty easy. I don't think you have to be a brain surgeon. You just have to have a lot of patience, and obviously you have a shit ton of tools. And use something to stand on. We got these little bench things that we stand on, but just take your time, and spray everything down with some sort of lubricant. Let it sit for an hour or so before you start wrenching on nuts and bolts and stuff, because obviously rust can snap a bolt or whatever. Knock on wood, so far so good. And then I'll do another video once I get this off, the old turbo, once I get it off, and see where the doser valve is, and see how everything else looks, clean everything up that I'm going to connect the new one to. You always want to make sure you wire brush everything once you put your new gaskets on. And they tell you not to use the petroleum, or not to use silicone for the gaskets to help them stay on. Like in my other videos, I use silicone to keep, kind of hold the gaskets in, and they say it helps for dry rot or whatever. But in some of the other videos I watched, they said do not use silicone on these. Use petroleum jelly for whatever reason. So yeah, so I'm not going to use silicone to help keep the gaskets on. I will use petroleum jelly, and once again, we'll do another video and let you know how it goes. I really hope that these videos are helpful. I don't really see any other videos that kind of explain in detail what you're looking at. So, like I said, so far so good. And if you like the video, just hit the thumbs up. And once again, try to subscribe. Thank you. Ciao.